This is Then and Now, the show where we take old photos from the west coast of Sweden and attempt to recreate them to see what those places look like today. And in this episode, we once again return to the Slottsskogen city park in the heart of Gothenburg for one photo, which is quite possibly the most difficult one we've done so far. And so welcome back. So we're going to do a really difficult photo this time. I didn't realize it would be that difficult, but when I went down into Slottsskogen and tried to find a spot it was taken, I realized just how difficult it is. Let's have a look at it now. So this is the photo, and you can see here the Skansen Kronan redoubt and the old buildings along Karlsrogatan, which doesn't exist anymore. And you can just see the hints of a bridge there that doesn't exist anymore. And unfortunately, much of this area I now believe has been re-landscaped. So, it's certainly a challenge, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? So let's head down now to Slottsskogen and see what we can do. So we are in search of a bridge, and one actually remains, and I have found it. This is not the bridge that appears in the photos. However, it does help us pinpoint exactly where we are. So I'm just heading down to that bridge now. So there we have it, and there we actually have the tram passing on the other side of the small pond. So that's where also the railway used to be. And of course, if you look at the map, which should appear on the screen now, there's another tram coming through there. This bridge, if we were to cross this bridge and then turn left, we should actually be able to walk along the waterline to where the old railway station was. But as we can see today, there is no trail left to walk. This path kind of just ends here by the tramway lines. And although technically it is possible to walk around here now and to walk along the rails, we're not really meant to do that. We can see down here, well, it's very difficult to see actually. You can see the fence that would have continued and that should still continue here and connect to the fence, protecting us, or keeping us from walking onto the tracks. But we do know where we are, so that's a good start. And all I need to do now is figure out where the other bridge would have stood. And based on that, we should be able to figure out where to take the next two photos. So in trying to figure out exactly where that photo was taken, I turned to a very old map. So this is what it looks like. And what I realized was that the church is shown on this map, and there's also an outcropping in the water that is also shown. And I thought that if I could draw a direct line between the church and that outcrop into the water, then maybe that is where the photo was taken. So that is what I'm trying to do here. If we turn over there, that is the church. There we have the tram lines And so my guess is that we align that up, we do arrive at sort of an outcropping into the pond there. So I'm going to guess that the photo was taken over there, and let's go and have a look. Let's head down here, shall we? And yes, I think this is pretty much it. But the problem is, if I turn around here, okay, so I switched the camera around instead. Yeah, so that is of course an island that didn't exist back when the photo was taken. But I still reckon that this is where the photo was shot, so I'm going to set up the camera here and take the photo. And so on the left we have the the original photo, which we don't know exactly when that was taken, and then on the right hand side we have the photo that we took in 2021. Now, unfortunately, I do think we have some problems here. I'm not convinced that this is the right spot, and certainly not the right angle. I think I should have turned the camera a little bit to the right, and let me tell you why. So we do have the Skansen Kronan redoubt here. Now, in largely the same location or the same area of the photograph, we have this structure here, which is not the redoubt. This is actually a building on Linnéplatsen, and let me actually let's do this. Let me show you that now. So this is Google Maps, and I was stood. Let's see. I was there. We have Annedal's church, and I drew a straight line to this sort of outcropping into the water here. So this is where I stood when I was taking that photo, and I figured that the bridge would have been around here, and I know that this was Karlsrogatan, so this is where we had those buildings that you could see in the photo as well. Skansen Kronan, the redoubt, is over here. And now comes the problem. You should see, or if all of these houses hadn't been in the way, you should have seen that on the in the right hand side corner of the photo. But instead, what you see in my photo is this. So I'm angling the camera way too much in this direction, where it should be pointing in this direction. Okay. Let's see if we can switch back without everything going haywire on me. So yeah, that's I don't know. At the same time, the only way I can figure out that this actually works if there's been significant landscaping done. And I do believe we have evidence that a lot of landscaping has been done, because if we look at the map here, we can see that the water actually used to go all the way to Linnéplatsen, which I said, I believe, earlier as well. But it doesn't today, as again we can see from Google Maps here, the water actually stops here, whereas once upon a time it would have gone all the way up to about this point. So there's a lot that has happened, and that makes this photo that I tried to recreate problematic to recreate today. It's just not, it's changed a lot. Potentially I took a later photo. It's possible that this is closer to that view, because the Skansen Kronan redoubt should be somewhere behind these houses, and then the bridge would have been somewhere there, and the houses on Karlsrogatan would have been seen there. But again, it's really difficult to tell. So there we have it. As I said, the most difficult one we've done so far, and I'm not really happy with the result there. I think I messed it up a bit. I should have realized that if you see that turret or tower-like structure on the building at Linnéplatsen in the photo that I took, then the composition must be wrong. I didn't realize that at the time, however. I thought I had got it just right, and because it worked so well with the landscape where I set up the camera. But again, I think there's a lot has changed there. There's been heavy landscaping done to that area. So, but you win some, you lose some. And even though I didn't get the exact photo, I still think it's fun to see what it looked like back then and what it looks like today, because I do think that we got an idea of that at least. I hope you will be back for future challenges where we try to recreate other historical photos. We are planning more episodes like this in the future to tie in with the main episodes that we do. So until then, take care and hope to see you back for the next episode.